Let's test it out. I've never got it wet before. You know, if I blow a circuit or this place starts on fire, that would be bad because I have no backup plan. So let's just give it a couple squirts here. They do say that it could be submerged up to 90 feet. What? Why? How? If you're like me, you've probably used a whole bunch of different light fixtures on set to light your videos, like a common LED light panel, a COB or fresnel light, or an LED tube light. But have you ever used a flexible LED light panel? I know for me it's the first time, so let's check out what this thing can do. This is the brand new Falcon RX-12TDX Mark II. And I'm just reading it right off the control box here because it's a really long name. And full disclosure, FalconEyes did send this out to me for review, but they did not pay me to see any of this or see the video before posting. Right now, the light is dimmed down to 3%, so it doesn't just completely blow out the image. And you can actually see that I have a couple dead LEDs there. And it did not come this way. It actually came completely working with no dead LEDs, but it's my fault. I actually kind of broke the light during my testing because I folded it right in half. I was like, oh, I want to see how flexible this thing is. And I'm pretty much an idiot, I know, because on the back of it, there's this huge warning sticker that literally says no folding. So, whoops, I should have read that before going with it. You're really only supposed to roll this up and not like literally fold it in half like a delicious taco. Let's get right into the tech specs now. This is a 50-watt bi-color flexible LED light. Now, it's not nearly as bright as some of my other ones at 100 or 150 watts, but they actually make larger, brighter versions like their 18 TDX and their 24 TDX. So check those out if you need even more output. So the main thing that makes this kind of light unique is, of course, that it is fully flexible. So they have it on this little X spring mount here to keep it nice and rigid, but you can quickly take that off if you need to. And then you can see just how flexible and small this light is. Like I said, don't fold it like a taco, but you can roll this thing back up to put it into the case so it gets nice and small when you want to travel with it. Now, why would you need something like a thin, flexible light? That seems like cool, right? Is it just a feature though, or is it something actually useful? And that's what we're gonna talk about a little bit more here. So when you have a thin, light, flexible light like this, you can put it in so many places without a ton of rigging and large stands and sandbags and things like that. So for me, a light like this works fantastic as a backlight because this thing doesn't even weigh a pound. So if you want to fly this out over your subject's head behind them like this, you can easily put it on a C-stand or hang it from the ceiling, and you don't have to worry about this thing falling or getting into any complex rigging. So that's the first place that I would use this as a backlight or hair light. Now, another great way to use this light, and I've seen this before, is you could actually just tape this right to the ceiling. So if you're trying to hide your light and you didn't have a good spot to put it, as long as you use enough gaff tape, you could definitely just tape this right to a ceiling or even to a wall if you needed to. It's really just that light. It's hard to express how light this thing really is. Now, another really unique way that you could use a light like this is for Hollywooding the light, which basically means that it is a moving light with your subject on set. And I've done this before with other LED light panels, but they were much more heavy. This thing is so light and easy, so a grip or whatever could definitely hold this for long shoot days without really fatiguing at all. So basically what you do is put the light on the end of a long boom pole and then hold it out over your characters, and you can walk around with this light just out of frame, and it works great for those walk and talks where you need your subject to be well lit. This is the control box for the light. Essentially, it houses everything that you would normally see permanently installed on the back of an LED light panel, but they've separated it out to make this extremely light and flexible. So there's a lot of advantages to that. And it just has a 6-foot cable that then runs to the light. So there are two modes. You can, of course, run this off of DC power and just plug it into an outlet, or there is a battery operated mode. So you can take a standard V-mount battery and just chuck it on the back here, and then I can kick this on. If you're running and gunning and you just don't have a spot to tap into, an outlet, like let's say you're out in the middle of the city or you're in the forest or, some deserted spot, whatever it is, this is a really great way to get a light on your character in a small, compact way. All right, now that we have the light mounted up again, let's take a little bit of a deeper dive into the control box because this is really the brains of the whole thing. It's very simple. There's only 4 buttons and a little control wheel. Essentially, you can of course change your brightness anywhere from 0 up to 100%. If you want to dial in just the right brightness, you can set it at only 1% or 2%. The other main button here is the CCT or Kelvin. So this light, like I said, is bi-color and it'll go anywhere from 3000, so nice and warm, tungsten, all the way up to 5600 Kelvin, so your daylight balance. This light does have the ability to do DMX, so there are in and out ports here if you want to daisy chain this to like an entire lighting grid. And of course right here there's your channel control, so you can set your channel to whatever you need it to be. And then there are some different lighting effects there, so that's what this little magic wand on the control box is. So you hit that and you can turn on your different scenes, and I'll just quickly go through them. You know, you have your classic lightning, candle, warning signs, and just a handful of other little ones. I honestly don't usually use the effects that are built into these lights because they can be a little bit cheesy or over dramatic, but if you need something like that, it is there. Now besides that, there isn't much else to the control box except you could screw on an antenna here if you want to use a remote control from FalconEyes, so you can of course control it completely remote. Now, one little detail I do love is it has this integrated safety chain so you can easily hang it on a light stand. Typically, I wouldn't use a light completely naked like this. I would add some diffusion because it'll be too hard of a light source. So it does come with 2 different diffusion options. One of them is basically like this big piece of diffusion and these little sticks that you can kind of mount on it some way so that this sticks out. It kind of looks like a weird like umbrella dome thing. Honestly, I just couldn't figure out how to put it together and it was kind of driving me crazy. And it's just really not something that I would even use. So I'm just gonna kind of toss this to the side, but it is there if you're into that kind of thing. Because really what I love is a nice softbox to really control your lights and get it as soft as possible. So this is a really nice softbox that comes with it from FalconEyes, and it's a great fit for it. And it also has this little honeycomb that you can take on or off. It just completely Velcros onto the front here. So depending on, you know, how much you need to control the spill of your light. Let's get this on. It just attaches with a couple pieces of basic Velcro here that are also on the back of the light. I actually really love the combination of this light because it's actually such a slim profile. With the entire softbox on there and the light, it looks like there's really no light there. The softbox is the whole thing. That's really cool and makes it easy to put this in small spaces. So what I've actually done with this light, because it's just so compact and light, is I've decided to replace my live streaming light that I have been using for years, which is this larger, heavy LED light panel, with this one because it just fits really nice in the corner above my computer screen. So this sort of light is fantastic for a live stream setup. So if you're into that sort of thing, I definitely recommend it because you can get it close up against your wall. If you're in a small office or bedroom, whatever it is, this works really well for that. Let's take a look at the carrying case it comes with, which is essentially a padded tube because it rolls up, and I'm gonna try and roll it up a little bit more gently because I already damaged some of the LEDs, which I think is just something to keep in mind. With a light like this, it could be a little bit more fragile than the LED panels you're used to working with. So there we go, there's still a bunch of room in there for the softbox, the control box, and everything like that. So it's a really nice, compact, small little case that you could bring on set with you. Now for my testing, this light does seem to be pretty color accurate. When you set it to say 3200 Kelvin tungsten or 5600 daylight, it seems to be pretty spot on in camera. But I haven't used like an official light meter with a color temperature tester on there to test exactly how accurate that is. And when it comes to output, although it's only 50 watts, when you actually crank this thing all the way up to 100%, it definitely has plenty of enough output, especially if you have it closer into your subject. So yes, you could definitely use something like this as a key light. So what are the cons of this light? Well, I didn't find very many, but the biggest one, it just happens to be the nature of the light itself. Because it's a Rolleiflex flexible light, it seems to be just a little bit more fragile when it comes to the individual LED diodes. Because as you saw in the video, I did break a couple of them. It didn't come that way, but because I just folded it way too hard, I think I messed up the connection there in the light itself. So I would say that if you're gonna get one of these lights, just be a little bit more careful and fragile with it than I was, and I don't think you'll have any issues. It's definitely a light that I would recommend if you want something that's compact, light, easy to rig out overhead, or you need in a tight space like a desk setup. So if you're interested, check out the links in the description below. All right guys, if you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe right now because I have a ton more videos coming out on shooting, editing, lighting, gear reviews, everything like that, and you don't want to miss it. All right, I'll see you in the next video.